It's so good to see you. I hardly couldn't wait. Will you clap your hands and count to 8? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hello, everybody. Yes, indeed. I'm Mrs. Rizzo. And it is great to see you. So I'm glad you counted to 8, because 8 and great are rhyming words, aren't they? Yeah. And it's still winter, isn't it? That's why I'm reading to you some of my winter stories, some of my favorite winter stories. And in the winter, it's very, very cold. So we're going to learn today about some F is for forest animals, animals that live in the forest. That's where the woods are, right? And I also have the letter H here because some animals hibernate in the winter. That means they go to sleep and they slow down. And sometimes they don't even eat for the whole winter. Yeah. Hibernate. Can you say that word? We're going to learn about that today, all right? First, I'd like to read you a book called How Do You Know That It's Winter? Well, I know you know that it's winter when it's really cold out there, right? Comes right after fall. Fall is over and now it is winter. When falling snow turns the whole world white, winter has surely come. We haven't had much snow yet, have we? But the weather reporter keeps telling us that it's coming soon. Yeah, the whole world will be covered in white, and it's kind of pretty, isn't it? Only in the winter can you go skating on a frozen pond or zipping down a hill on a sled. Are those things you like to do in the winter? I hope you get a chance to do that when some snow comes. Or build a funny snowman or play in the snow. Those are some things that you're going to be doing soon as that snow starts falling, right? Snow is made up of tiny flakes, and no two snowflakes look exactly alike. Of course, snowflakes are very tiny, aren't they? But if you had a microscope and you could look under them and make it look much bigger, that's what it would look like. Pretty shapes, right? How can you tell that it's winter when there isn't any snow? Well, if the leaves are gone from the trees, and they are, aren't they? Yeah, all the trees have lost their leaves, or at least most of them have. That's what they look like in the winter. If the cold, cold air makes you shiver and you have to bundle up to keep warm, do you have to bundle up to keep warm? Yeah, you have to wear sweaters and scarves, mittens, right? If it's already dark outside when it's time for you to eat your supper, that's when you know that it's winter time. It gets dark much earlier in the winter time, doesn't it? And guess what? Animals are covered with fur, so they don't mind the cold. But bears and raccoons, they like to sleep through most of the winter. Our bear friends and our raccoons, they mostly like to sleep through the winter. That's called hibernation. They hibernate. See? Not all animals hibernate, though. This one here is a moose. He's not hibernating, is he? But this raccoon is hibernating up inside the hole in the tree where it lives, right? In some parts of the world, it's cold and snowy all the time. Yeah. We read about penguins, right? And where they live, it's cold and snowy all the time. They don't mind the cold, do they? They don't have to hibernate. But in other parts of the world, it's so warm that in the winter, boys and girls have never even seen snow. In some parts of the world, in the deep south, southern part of the world, palm trees grow. People can still go swimming even in the winter because it's not cold there. Winter snow is lots of fun to play in, but aren't you glad that someday the snow will melt And spring will come back again. Yeah, that's a crocus. Crocus comes at the very end of winter and the very beginning of spring. Well, I told you we were going to learn a little bit about some forest animals, the animals that live in the forest, okay? What kind of animal do you think that one is? Let's find out. I think it's a chipmunk. Did you ever see a chipmunk? Chipmunk is no bigger than your fist. If you make a fist, that's the size that a chipmunk is. I think they like to hibernate in the winter, but maybe not. Let's find out. Forest animals. There are many different kinds of forest animals. Some of them are active in the day, and some of them prefer to come out at night, like the raccoons and the possums and the owls. They come out at night, so we call them nocturnal. Can you say that big grown-up word? Nocturnal. Owls are nocturnal, and raccoons are nocturnal. I think even this little fox is nocturnal. Likes to come out at night. Squirrels have long, furry tails, and they hunt for nuts to eat. Those nuts are called acorns, aren't they? Squirrels live in the forest, too. They also live in our neighborhood, don't they? They chatter with each other all day long up in the trees, don't they? Squirrels do not hibernate. They stay awake all winter long. They hide their acorns down under the ground, even in the snow, and then they have to remember where they are. Deer, the mother deer, is called a doe. She keeps her baby close to her. Her baby is called a fawn. It has white spots on it to help it hide easily in the bushes. The father deer is called a stag. Yeah, so the mother deer is called what? A doe. The baby deer is a fawn. And the father deer is a stag. And you'll always know which one is the father deer because he's got those big antlers on his head, right? They do not hibernate in the winter. Rabbits in the forest live in homes under the ground. They hop around looking for grass and leaves to nibble on. Rabbits do not hibernate, but they do live down under the ground, don't they? In their burrow. That's called a burrow, where a rabbit lives. Here's the chipmunk. A little chipmunk sits in the sun. It will soon look for some nuts and seeds to eat. Some of the nuts that it eats now, and others it's going to hide for later. Well, I know another animal that does that too. Do you remember? Yes, a squirrel. A squirrel finds acorns and hides them, buries them, and they remember right where they buried them, and then they go dig them up when they're hungry. Because they don't have a refrigerator that they can keep their food in, right? A snake comes out of its hole in the ground and finds a nice sunny place to stop and rest. As it grows, a snake will shed its old skin and leave it behind on the ground. Can you see that? Can you imagine? It just slithers right out of its old skin and it leaves it on the ground. If you go walking in the woods, you might find that. An owl. At night, the owl comes out of the tree to look for food. It flies so quietly that it can sneak up on the tiny animals that are on the ground. That's what owls do. They sneak up on tiny animals like little mice. And that's how they capture them in their talons, and then they bring them back to their nests so they can feed their babies. Their baby owls, their owlings. This is the raccoon. Remember the raccoon? He's got like a little mask on, doesn't he? Raccoons have a face that looks like they are wearing a mask. Raccoons look for food around the forest after dark. So they are nocturnal, aren't they? Mm-hmm. Along with some other forest creatures that have a very bad odor. What do you think that means? That means they are very smelly. Can you guess what animal has a very bad odor? No, it's not the raccoon. It's another nocturnal animal that comes out at night. I'll give you a clue. It's black and white. Yes, did you guess? It's a skunk. Yeah, a skunk. You do not want to go near a skunk, do you? Skunks don't spray their stinky scent unless they are frightened. So it is best to stay far away from a skunk if you see one while you're walking. Sometimes in the forest you might see one. They even live in our neighborhood, but usually they don't come out until it's nighttime. If you see one, don't go near it because they will spray you with a very terrible smelling spray. Well, that was kind of fun to learn about animals, especially the forest animals, the animals that live in the forest. I have one more book for you because we talked a little bit about animals that hibernate, like this little bear over here, right? And maybe even the fox, although I think they come out if they're really, really hungry. Where is the bear in the wintertime? Let's find out. Where is the bear when the wind blows cold, and the bird and the beaver and the bee? Where are the beavers and the bees and the bears in the winter when the wind blows cold? Bears find sleeping good in a cave in the wood, in the forest, in a cave. That's where you'll find a bear sleeping through the winter. That's called hibernation, right? He's hibernating. And the bird has a nest high up in the tree, right? Safe from other animals. High up in the tree. That's a blue jay, isn't it? Mm-hmm. And what about beavers? Well, beavers stay warm in the winter and nice down under the ice in a lodge built of branches and sticks. They cut those branches down with their very, very sharp front beaver teeth. See? And then they pile them up in the pond or the lake or the river, and they build what they call a lodge or a dam. And bees, well, how do they keep alive? Well, they're inside their beehive, and they sip on the honey that they mix. That's what bees do, right? Don't they make their own honey? Mm-hmm. And in the winter, that they stay inside their hive. So I guess you could say they hibernate also, right? Where do snakes hide when it's icy outside? And the fox. Where do you hide, little fox? And the squirrel. And the fishes. Where do they all go in the wintertime? Let's see if we can find out. Snakes slide underneath rocks, and the home of a fox is a den. That's a little like a little cave too. Snug and warm as he wishes. They stay snug and warm in their den. See, maybe you can see the den over here and see the fox is coming out. He's probably looking for something to eat, don't you think? Oh, squirrels. Now, we see those in our neighborhood, don't we? Do you think they hibernate? No, we see them even in the wintertime, don't we? Squirrels like to rest in a hollow tree nest. That means the big hole in the tree. And they tuck away nuts in their dreams. They're dreaming about acorns and nuts, right? See his big bushy tail. What about fish? Fish in brooks stop biting on hooks, and they stay at the bottom of streams, down under the ice. Yeah. So if you see a frozen lake or a frozen stream, and it's got all ice, don't think there's no fish there. They are. They're down under That's where the fish stay when it's cold and wintry. Where do toads go to get out of the snow? And the cow, and the caterpillar, and the cat? Well, toads dig in the mud till the spring flowers bud. So they hibernate down under the mud. And cows lie in the barns and get fat. Yeah. They keep warm and they grow fat in the winter time. And caterpillars spin a cocoon just as soon as the leaves change and the colors fall. Can you see these children have a cocoon, have a little caterpillar in their hand? But it's going to go into its cocoon for the winter. But the cat, by the fire, where it's cozy and drier, has the best winter home of all. Do you have a cat in your house? Or a dog? You keep them warm in the winter in your house, right? Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, we read about a lot of different animals and what happens in the winter time to them. And I think there's somebody hiding in our little doorway here. Should we take a look and see who's back there? Oh my goodness, you're not going to believe. I'll give you a clue. It's an animal that we said does not hibernate in the winter. Can you guess what it is? I'll give you another clue. It begins with the letter S. Yes, S is for squirrel. Come on out, squirrel. Isn't he cute? And look, he's got a whole bag full of acorns. I have a really cute song about the squirrel. Would you like to hear it? Will you sing it with me? I'll try it first and then you sing it with me. Ready? Little squirrel, swish your bushy tail. Little squirrel, swish your bushy tail. Wrinkle up your little nose. Put some nuts between your toes. Little squirrel, swish your bushy tail. Did you like that song? Huh? Yeah? I like my little squirrel, don't you? Well, I hope to read you some more winter stories next time. And who knows what animal friends may join us, okay? But we learned a little bit about raccoons today and about bears and owls. This is a nocturnal animal, right? Comes out at the night only to eat. Raccoons are nocturnal. Bears like to hibernate, right? Raccoons do too. And I don't know about that little fox. I think he comes out even when it's cold, and the bunny rabbit too when they're good and hungry, right? And of course the squirrel, he comes out all year round. He doesn't mind the cold weather either. I guess he's got that nice fur coat to keep him warm. So I hope to see you again next time, all right? Because the more we get together, the more we get together, the happier we'll be. 'Cause my friends are your friends and your friends are my friends. The more we get together, the happier we'll be. See you next time.